Morning, ladies, gentlemen. How are you? Well, welcome to this session. Andrés, Constanza, Anaís, Caroline, Alonso, Valentina. Hey. Right. Yesterday we were talking or studying about reflexive pronouns, reflexive and intensive pronouns. So we were dealing with, in this case, metalinguistic contents. But today we're gonna be dealing a little bit with lexical contents in this case. So let me show you, in this case, the title here, which is chapter 82, Politics, which is on English vocabulary in use pre-intermediate. So we're gonna try, in this case, to analyze the vocabulary. You know, it's not pretty much like a political analysis. It's just like a linguistic analysis, right? Regarding the, the terminology in this case. So if you wanna, give your opinions, just go ahead, right? So the idea is to check out a little bit the lexis in this case. We got types of government, for example, that we can here appreciate: monarchy, republic, democracy, dictatorship. Okay, these are pretty much like the most common forms of government, I'd say. Of course, there might be some other variations, but in general, we got this 4 in the book. So I'd like somebody in the class to help me with the reading a little bit, and then we're going to do a little maybe analysis. So I don't know if Valentina Layton can help us. Valentina, are you there? Are you with us, Valentina? Can you read? Estoy sin micrófono. Ah, yeah, vale. It's okay. No worries, no worries. All good. What about Caroline? Can you read this section, types of government, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Types of government: monarchy, a state ruled by a king or queen. There are also countries that have a monarchy, but the monarch is not the ruler. Example, the United Kingdom. Republic, a state governed by representatives, men or women chosen by the people, and the president. Example, USA or France. People who believe in the system are Republicans. Democracy, a system of government in which leaders are chosen by the people. Example, France or the UK. People who believe in this system are Democrats. Dictatorship, a system of government in which one person rules the country. One person has total power. This person is called a dictator.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, Caroline. Nice. So, I'd like to, in this case, read or hear some of your, in this case, insights or opinions about these types of government. For example, you know that before the French Revolution in 1789, approximately, the world was in this case in general was ruled by monarchies, right? France, UK, Spain, etc. But that changed with the French Revolution. That had this ripple effect around the world, and today there are some countries that still keep their monarchies as a symbol, right? A symbol of what? I don't know, but they keep them, and they actually support them and fund them. They give them money. So I think it's part of the tradition of those countries, stuff like that. Republic and democracy. There's a very interesting relationship between a republic and a democracy, because they were both, let's say, devised in Greece many, many, many years ago. You know that. And but the difference is that the republic is a state. It says that it is a state, and the state is an institution created, in this case, to rule or to make government a little bit easier. It's pretty much like a social device, right? And the representatives, that's why we got a system which is like a representative democracy, right? But there are different variations of democracy, right? And some democracies are stronger than others, right? Because it's like, we know that we got representatives in the Senate, for example, and or the Congress, and they are pretty much chosen by the people in general, including the president. And but also the point is that this power that we deliver to the Congress and to our representatives in general and the president should be balanced, because I mean the problem is it's not necessarily the structure in this case. It's pretty much how the representatives use the power. The power is a tool that can be used for good or evil. So the ideal, system, or the a more, in this case, efficient system is the one. This is my personal opinion, right? The one in which the power is distributed equally among the different levels. In this case, the people should have power, the representatives should have a little power, and also the president should have some sort of power as the executive. But we also have, in this case, the Supreme Court, or the legal power, and also the Congress. So the point here is that these three powers should, in this case, serve as, in this case, independent fiscalizers, right? The idea is to fiscalize, one power fiscalize the other. And I think it's a great idea. But the point is that in some democracies or republics, the executive power is like too strong, right? And in that way, we say that a democracy is weak because of the concentration of power. Because otherwise, we're talking about, or we're getting closer to a dictatorship, which is something that we don't really want to go back, right? In not only in Chile, but in many other countries. The history is clear about that. Now, if you got an opinion about this, please use the microphone or type something in the chat room, right? Because you can interrupt me whenever you want. And so we got, for example, in our country, we got this republic, and also we got, as as the state, the type of state we have. And also we got a democracy, which can be strong, weak, imperfect, etc. But it's the best system that we got. Now, the point is that democracies should be supported and strengthened around the world. Because so far it is the system which give the most freedom to the people and the most opportunities to develop, right? And also the regarding the distribution of power is the one that in this case can help societies to improve. All right, otherwise we would be back to monarchies or dictatorships, and in that case in this case in my personal opinion, I think that having monarchies and dictatorship sooner or later that leads to a revolution, right? Either because of in this case the lack of freedom, or the lack of food, or the lack of power, because people today in general we don't we prefer to in this case enjoy, in this case, not only the liberties, the rights, the privileges, and also we like to be represented, right? And to have a decent life, a sort of dignity. So regarding political beliefs in this case, this is pretty much like a list of concepts, okay? We got, for example, abstract nouns in this case, like conservatism, socialism, social democracy, liberalism, communism, and fascism, right? And in this case, the personal noun or adjective in this case, so we can call people this way. A conservative, a socialist, a social democrat, a liberal, a communist, and a fascist, all right? People who believe in social democracy are social democrats in this case. Also, you can say, for example, a conservative idea, a conservative person, a socialist person, a social democrat person. So you can use this list, in this case, this column, either as a noun or as an adjective, right? A communist person, a fascist person, a liberal person, right? So interesting, because I don't see anarchists in this case, but we got anarchy and then an anarchist, right? It's a very interesting political belief in that case. And also you have combinations. For example, social democracies are normally Democrats who got a couple of Marxist ideas in this case, or conservatives that can have some or can share some beliefs with fascism, right? So there are, in this case, there are combinations, right? In this beliefs, all right. So going in this case on, there are political positions in this case. So what does it mean to be a socialist or a conservative, right? Often it means different things in different countries, but in Britain, for example, they often talk about someone's political position like this. Left wing, or on the left, is normally a socialist. Middle of the road or in the center normally is called a liberal person, and the right wing or on the right is called a conservative. And in the United States, it's more like, for example, Democrats and Republicans. Republicans on the right and Democrats on the left. But you got a full range in this case of colors, a full, in this case, fan, like an abanico, right? Because there are many like people like in the middle. All right, so the political, in this case, spectrum is really today is more a little more complex, right? Because many people do not like to be, in this case, stereotyped. In this case, like they don't want to take a specific political stance, right? Which is at certain point it's valid because it's a sort of anarchist position, but sometimes it's just like apathy regarding what's going on in society, which is, in this case, I don't know if that can be called a position. I guess yes. I guess it's a don't like not caring about anything regarding politics. I think it's also a political position, right? And anyway, let me show you something. I remember I dealt, I don't remember if I dealt with you guys. I don't think so, but I dealt with this topic before, and then I showed a very interesting chart about political spectrum. In this case, there was a chart which was very interesting. Hold on a second. There you go. I got it here, I guess. All right. I don't really know if this is like pretty much exact, but this is one which can be interesting to analyze. It doesn't look very, hold on. Left, right. Okay, that's one. This is another one. Okay. Yeah, I like this one to do a little political analysis in this case. So you can see here, like in this case, a chart which is a little more representative of what's going on today around the world. I'm not saying that you should like place or pin yourselves in some point, but I think it's an interesting game to do when you want to say, okay, I'm around here. For example, you can see here left, right, and up, down. Okay. When we talk about up, we're talking about dictatorships. We're talking about, you know, this totalitarian, in this case, regimes. When we go down, or we talk about, in this case, anarchy, right? Which is, you know, strong government, very strong state up. And when we talk about down, we're dealing with no government at all, you know, like anarchism as a type of no government, non-government, right? And then we see left and right as the, you know, traditional, in this case, points of view of our beliefs. So right here, you got socialism or communism here on the left. On the right, you can see capitalism and traditionalism and stuff like that. And then I think, if you want me to tell you what my beliefs are a little bit, like closer to that, is right here. Maybe here, like as some sort of I love anarcho-socialism or syndicalism, and but I move within this spectrum. Let me be honest to you, right? Anarcho-collectivism and stuff like that. Okay, but I move within this spectrum around here, right? Some people, of course, can move around, you know, some other colors in this case, which is right. I respect that. And there are some others who believe that maybe capitalism is the right system and stuff like that. So, and they love it, and they move around here like libertarian capitalism, or they move like right here, especially when you want to really do not believe in any sort of government, but you believe in money, anarcho-capitalism in this case. What else? But here we got people who believe in strong governments, like communists and stuff like that, with a very strong state, and also here a lot of people who believe in fascism yet, and fundamentalism and traditionalism, right? So and a lot of people sometimes they prefer to remain in the center, normally like with ideas of liberalism. They can go a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, but right here is considered liberalism. And some people who are like more activist, they move down a little bit closer to anarchist ideas in this case. All right. um so I don't know if this is pretty much representative of the different political ideas, but I think it's way more in this case precise than just calling people communist or fascist. That's absolutely limited, right? In relation or in regard to this chart. Okay. um I don't know if you got any comments about this, any ideas, anything that you'd like to share. No comments? All right. Let's move on with the book. um where? Well, elections in this case. You know that this year there are some elections in our country. You can vote for any candidate that you'd like, or maybe none of them. That's okay, because that's a reflection of your political position in this case, even if you don't have one. And in a democracy, people vote for, in this case, and they choose in a formal way, elect the political party. For example, conservatives, liberals, socialists, that they want to form or make the government in this case. They do this in an election, and in many countries, elections take place or are held, or they happen every 4 or 5 years. 42% voted for the socialists in the last election. The socialists got 42% of the votes. The president was elected 2 years ago. But this is pretty much in Great Britain, and this book is kind of old anyway. But I think that there is a very interesting phenomenon occurring in our country, and is that many people are absolutely, in this case, let's say, deception, or is the word, I guess. But we don't believe anymore in politicians. But when I respect that idea, because of course many of them have just let people down, right? Such a deception in this case. And because we try to trust in people, in our representatives, and in the elected, in this case, representatives. But they many times they lie, many times they start stealing money, doing some in this case actions that are not uh, that politicians shouldn't do, in this case, that our representatives shouldn't in this case do. So I think that the public trust on, in this case, the elected representatives is going down, and it's their fault. because we need to choose representatives. Otherwise, our democracy is just we're going to lose our democracy someday if we do not support the idea of electing representatives, because that's pretty much the core of our democracy. You know, electing people who can represent us and protect us and defend us. But many times that is transformed into this case a criminal parade. You know, the criminal parade. Yeah, people, you know, just stealing money and taking advantage of the others. So that's why I believe that our political system is in crisis, and also our democracy is in crisis because of that. And but I think it is also the wrong idea to think that coming back to dictatorships or coming back to some sort of conservatism or traditionalism is pretty much the solution. I don't think so. I think that as a people, we need to learn how to, in this case, make good choices and strengthen our democracy and the distribution of power. We need to learn to be honest, learn to be, in this case, a well organized. And I believe that's the only way that we can, in this case, keep our freedoms and rights and fight for them. With dictatorships or traditional and authoritarian leaders, we lose freedom. We lose the capacity to fight for our rights. Okay. Anyway, I'd like somebody to help me with, y con esto ya vamos terminando. Help me with reading with the last thing. Maybe Paula, are you there, Paula? Can you help us? There you go. Can you read, please, the government section here?
Yes.
Thank you.
Political systems are different all over the world. In the UK, when a political party wins a majority, 51% or more of seats, official positions in parliament, in an election, they become a government of the country. The leader, the head of the party, person in control, becomes prime minister, and they are in power. The government must have policies, programs of actions to manage the country. This means, for example, an economic policy for the economy and a foreign policy for actions taken by the country in other parts of the world.
Thank you very much, Paula. Thanks a lot. So it's 9:32, so time is up. But I want you to think about this regarding the government. I know that maybe we got a lot of different opinions about our governments in our country, our politicians, the political system that we have in Chile. And but think about this. When we meet next week, how can we, in this case, be a sort of as social agents, as future teachers in this case? How can teachers become social agents for a change for good, of course, right? I think it's one of the roles that we as teachers and professors have. Think about this when you, for example, in the future, if you teach in a classroom, what kind of reference you want to be for your students. You know, many times when you continue studying in the teacher training program, you're going to hear a lot that being a teacher is and teaching kids is a political act, not because you are in this case, kind of spreading or preaching any political doctrine, it is because educating people is a positive political act, because you are or we are educating citizens, future citizens, right? Or persons with rights. So when I talk about politics in this case, it's not in the sense of political parties. It's pretty much the whole system, right? It's in this sense, you know, political. Like here, political systems are different all over the world, right? We don't talk about parties. We talk about pretty much everything happening in our society, all right? So think about that, and see you next class, which is next Wednesday. I'm going to be uploading, I think, a capsule today or tomorrow to move forward with also with the other topics. Any questions about in this case, the short stories for tomorrow? You know, tomorrow midnight, it's the deadline. Any questions about that? All good regarding the short stories? Well, in case you got any questions, just let me know. Just text me. And if you cannot comply with the deadline, please let me know in advance, please. All right. Thank you for coming to the class virtually. Remember that next week I'm going to start going to El Peda, and on Tuesdays and Fridays, right? If you wanna go and meet me, if you want me to teach you like face to face, let me know. And I'm gonna be there from on Tuesdays from, I guess, 12:30. It depends, but we can just text each other and then we can meet there, right? Small groups. If it is a bigger group, we can meet outside, like you know, open air, outdoors class. And if it is a small group, we can use one of the rooms if they are available. Okay, but I want you to let me know beforehand, because I have to send a spreadsheet, you know, in Spanish. Si nos vamos a juntar, tienen que avisarme para yo poder hacer la planilla y mandarla a departamento, ¿cierto? Para que la U sepa de que va a haber un grupo que va a estar dentro de una sala o que va a estar en derredor del departamento con las sillitas y todo, haciendo una clase, ¿ya? Así que let me know, please. Pero solamente yo voy a ir los martes y los viernes. Las clases online siguen intactas, tal cual. Los martes son asincrónicos y tenemos clases sincrónicas miércoles y jueves. ¿Vale? Lo mismo horario, pero lo demás son extra para tutorías, para, digamos, ir avanzando con la materia en ese respecto, ¿ya? Sayonara. Dice, profe, ¿hasta cuándo se puede entregar short story? El plazo es, según el calendario, es mañana a las 12 de la noche, ¿ya? Siempre ha sido el 24 hasta las 12. Si se van a pasar del viernes, tienen que decirme para no bajarle la nota, ¿ya? Porque tengo este problema, porque aquí ya no sé, pero mándenme un texto a un interno, ¿ya? Estoy leyendo no hay nada, ya. Have a nice day. See you next week. Bye bye.
Bye.
Chao, profe, que esté bien.
Take care, you too.